At least we always got Eric Adams to laugh at. No? Listen, it's a lot going on in New York. Remember when the workers is running around and now the gig worker is making $20 an hour and they complaining that they ain't got no tips? Hey, imagine that you protested to make $20 an hour, right? And now that you're making $20 an hour, you complaining that you're not getting no tips. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. First and foremost, let's talk about this. And then we got new migrant shelters that's opening over in New York. Check it out.
Well, it's supposed to be a big win for delivery workers in New York City.
But a new law requiring that they be paid a certain wage has come with some unintended consequences, one of them being that they actually earn fewer tips.
All right, Fox 5's Jessica Formoso spoke with a New York City council member who's now trying.
Hey, she kind of bad, though, on the low, though. I'm sorry, I just got an eye for talent. She don't even deserve to be up there in New York. She deserved to be down here in Detroit and in Miami. New York they competing. When it comes to the women and when it comes to the news anchors and the ladies that they keep front and center, I ain't even gonna cap. They out here competing. They competing. Go ahead then, baby girl.
To reverse this trend.
As of last week, app-based food delivery workers are getting $19.56 an hour. The pay increase, a big win for deliveristas, the delivery men and women who have been pushing for higher wages. But with the bump in pay came a reduction in tips.
I got
when
you,
the minimum
Kylie.
wages went into effect, the tipping options were removed at checkout as a disincentive and discouraging people from tipping. But also, I think this is also done in retaliation for deliveristas who won the minimum wage battle.
Councilmember Sean Abreu is proposing a bill that won't make it harder to tip on food delivery apps. It's a two-measure bill. One, to allow app users to tip at checkout, and two, to set a minimum gratuity of 10% of an order's total.
It's not.
What? Man, y'all have just literally lost your mind, bro. Y'all have literally lost your mind. They are introducing a bill. Listen, not only do you already get $20 an hour minimum, now they're introducing a bill that makes it to where you have to tip 10% minimum by default inside of the app. Okay, wait. I've always believed in tipping because I understood the American culture, and I've always said that a lot of these servers and stuff like that, they only getting like $1 and $2 an hour, and so they depend on the tips. And it's based off of their performance. So if they do a good job, then they get a tip. And I've always depended on a lot of the people to make sure that they support me based off of the fact that I tip good, right? And so I never understood why people come over into the country and they would say, oh, no, they should pay their workers a livable wage. Okay, cool. Well, New York has now legislated it, which I don't agree with. New York has legislated it to where, all right, now they get $20 an hour minimum, and they riding their bikes, and they riding on mopeds, which means they save on gas, they save on insurance, they save on tires, they save on the maintenance and the wear and tear on your car. And now they're trying to introduce legislation and say not only that, you have to tip them on top of it. Now, I disagree with that. I disagree with it 100%. This is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. You telling me we got to tip? We got to tip? What kind of nonsense is this? This is crazy, bro.
Two, to set a minimum gratuity of 10% of an order's total.
It's not a requirement to tip, and people can exercise their choice as consumers, and this comes at no cost to employers.
He don't even speak English. He said, Moncano, Soncani, Moncani, Moncano. He don't even speak English. Come on, man. These people don't even speak English, no hablo English, and you telling me what we gotta do? Shh. No hablo English. You don't even know. You can't even talk to me. I can't even ask you, hey, what happened to my order, bro? What are y'all doing over there?
Angel has been delivering for 2 months and says he depends on those tips. Same goes for Sebastián Garcia.
Estoy desde las 6 de la mañana y llevo 63.
Yo, these is migrants, man. These is migrants, bro. I don't know what y'all talking about. Straight up. Real talk. Man, this is crazy, bro. This is absolutely insane. It's crazy. And it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
I've been working since 6 a.m. It's now 3 p.m. and I've only made $63. DoorDash made its changes in December. The option to tip in the DoorDash app is now after checkout. In a statement to Fox 5, it says, in order to better balance the impact of these new costs, this change comes as a recommendation by the New York City Department of Consumer and Worker Protection and has been done to help ensure our platform remains affordable for all New Yorkers. A spokesperson for Uber Eats says, haven't seen the bill yet, but seems odd the council member wants to require New Yorkers to tip delivery workers that make $20 an hour by law and not those that make $10.65 by law.
So, in addition to that, in addition to the fact that New York is creating these laws that they're hoping that helps get Eric Adams elected again, they've also opened a new migrant shelter. So, you know how housing is hard to find and, you know, they're trying to look for real estate because it ain't going nowhere. And so they build up in New York instead of out because every single crack and crevice in New York is already owned by everybody in New York. Yeah. Well, Brooklyn is opening a new migrant shelter. Check it out.
A controversial new migrant shelter opens at a former manufacturing building in Gowanus, Brooklyn.
The state says the site should be tested for underground contaminants, but the city says that it meets the regulations to become a shelter.
All right, Fox 5's Morgan McKay joins us now in studio with a closer look at the details of what's going on there. Morgan.
Yes, Steve and Natasha, this shelter site, along with around 300 other properties in that area, have been marked by the state for testing to see if there are underground contaminants. But the city says that the shelter site passed its inspection and the state test is not required for them to open. It's one of the most recent migrant shelter sites to open. The Gowanus shelter, located in Brooklyn, opened its doors starting last Wednesday and has a capacity to house up to 400 migrant men. The former manufacturing.
I don't want to be nowhere where it's a bunch of men. I'm going to just be honest with you, bro. I don't want to be hanging out nowhere where it's a bunch of men talking about what we got going on today. Nope. Nope. I don't want to be nowhere where it's a bunch of hard legs having a good time talking about, hey, man, what we got going on today. Nope. Count me out, bro. Count me out, big dog. I'm straight. I'm good. 400 men, musty, just came over from the border. No documentation. Nah, I'm good, big dog. I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on that, big bro.
The building is located next to the Gowanus Canal, one of the most heavily contaminated water bodies in the nation. The building is also next to a vacant lot that used to house a gas manufacturing plant. As a result, the State Department of Environmental Conservation has listed the site as one of the properties the agency intends to test to see if underground contaminants are still present in the soil.
The health and safety of everyone in our care is always sort of the top priority.
City Hall defending the use of the site on Tuesday, saying that the shelter meets local and state regulations and passed an inspection from the State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. On top of that, the city says that the landlord of the building conducted a soil vapor intrusion test and found no indication there are current health risks to the people living there.
We are also working with the State Department of Environmental Conservation to schedule an additional soil vapor intrusion test at this site, which is not mandatory testing.
Neighborhood residents who are part of the 3rd Street Block Association have filed a lawsuit against the city over the use of the site as a shelter. In a statement, the group said, quote, the use of this property without testing and remediation violates New York City zoning rules and New York State environmental standards and places all residents and migrants in danger and exposes the city to long-term liability that taxpayers will be responsible for. To date, more than 189,000 migrants have passed through New York City since the spring of 2022, and
Way
the
more
city
than
has
that.
opened more than 200 temporary shelter sites.
Last week, 1,500 migrants have come, which means that there's a slight bit of an uptick that we're seeing, so we're always paying attention to that.
And Politico breaking news just moments ago that New York City will be severing ties with DocGo and is declining to renew its contract with this controversial migrant services provider.
So there's your New York news. Tip and gig workers is making $20 an hour. And then also on top of that, and they finessing. Y'all know that they finessing, right? This girl is kind of cute. I like her. I've seen her before. They finessing. So basically what they do is they find somebody else that's not a gig worker. They put it in their name if they're not a documented worker. They actually get, and I'm going to tell you what the real finesse is. And a lot of people are not familiar with this, but this is how they finessing. A lot of times they'll find an undocumented worker or somebody knows a bunch of undocumented workers that's willing to get to that bag, right? They're willing to work. And then you wonder and you say, wait a minute, this guy said that he's been up since 3 a.m. and it's 6 p.m. and how come he's only made $60-something an hour? Well, a lot of times those workers depend on tips. And the reason that they depend on tips is because the person who they're operating under. Have y'all ever ordered DoorDash? Have y'all ever ordered Grubhub? Have you ever jumped into an Uber and it was a girl, but it was really a guy, or it was a guy and it was really a girl, and they actually operating under somebody else's thing? That's what happens. And so they set it up under somebody else's name. You come up and they start delivering your stuff. And what's really happening is that because somebody else's name is legal and they're able to use their actual identity in order to sign up on the application itself, they then use that in order to sign up a bunch of other people. And then those people are doing all of the deliveries and they basically getting a cut of it. And so what happens is those people are still working under a certain amount that they're getting paid, and then somebody else is getting a bigger cut of it, and that's how they finesse you through the app. There you go. There's the finesse. There's the finesse. That's why they don't have to be no English, because the only thing that they got to do is they got to know how to be able to navigate through this application. They got to know how to read it. They got to have it on their phone, and then they can go and deliver wherever it is that they're delivering it to. This is how they working. This is how they getting it. This is how they busting it down. Go to Miami. Go to Miami. Miami's gig workers are the most efficient gig workers. They sublet employment. That's correct. Miami gig workers are some of the most efficient gig workers that I've ever seen in my life. And part of the reason that they're so efficient is because they all doing the same thing that they're doing in New York, except for New York weather is worse. But Miami gig workers is all on mopeds, so they don't have the same cost as you. So they're able to outsource, get around quicker. They going through traffic and doing all of the stuff. Most of them don't even speak English, but they'll get you your food fast as hell. Y'all really want to have a, because they don't, of course they're not going to say this. They're not going to say this on the major networks. They're not going to have this conversation with you. They're not going to tell you how these gig workers is being able to get over what the real finesse is, how businesses are really able to operate. Hey, this person got an EBT card and they over there funding a restaurant and they paying with all, they having customers paying with cash so that they can minimize the amount of money that the IRS knows, but the IRS really wants everybody to start going through and go cashless because there's so much money that's going out of the coffers and taxes because people are operating under the cash-based system, and the United States of America don't want to go away from the cash-based system because it allows for us to be able to circumvent. Listen, they don't want to have these real conversations. These is the real conversations. You think that everybody that's over here operating, that's been over here for an extended period of time, even though they didn't just recently cross the border, that they just operating above board? No, they figuring it out. They finessing. They figuring it out, but it's better than what they came from. It's better than what they came from. No hablo inglés, but I got your food, eh? You know what I'm saying?